Welcome into Coach and Bro.
Oh, what's good, everybody? We continue our domination here on Stadium. I apologize. I got to get that post out because social media is such a big part of what we do. So thank you all for tuning in for the Coach and Company show. If you missed any of it, you can catch us on demand at our Coach and Company YouTube page. Now, for the next hour, this is the Coach and Bro show. All of the big stories in pro wrestling. If you're here for a breakdown of Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, it's the wrong show. We talk about topics that we know because we spent collectively well over 20 years just in the WWE, let alone the pro wrestling business. So we got to talk about Rock, Cena, WrestleMania, ticket prices, in the queue, all of that. But I'm only the coach side of this. My partner, my good friend, the man that I battle with sometime. Oh, he's the best writer in the damn game. Mr. Russo, good morning.
What is going on, Coach? Another dollar, another day, and a lot to talk about. Some interesting topics that we always seem to find, which is funny, man, because a lot of times I'm like, well, what is there to talk about? but then when you follow the headlines, again, when you go beyond reviewing shows, there's a lot going on in the industry.
There really, really is. And that's kind of where our niche has come, and that's why people come here. If you're watching on our YouTube channel right now, go ahead and hit the like button for us on the way in. We continue on through the breaks here on Stadium as well. But, Vince, several things we got to get to. I got to start. We got to start because Monday, this interview hadn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. And The Rock went on the Kelsey's podcast at New Heights. And I know he likes to mess around a lot, but it was very, very telling because what do we say all the time right here? The Rock does nothing that's not calculated. He's always been that way. So he was asked directly, who should the last opponent for John Cena be? And he went, and they all laughed. Oh, is it going to be you? It's going to be you. And he goes, oh, in all seriousness, it's whoever John wants, whatever John wants. And that two glaring questions for me that I'm going to bring to you. First and foremost, when he's been gone the entire year after starting the heel turn, why would he do this to even tease the audience that potentially he could be the last match?
Man, that's really interesting, Coach, because if it's not going to be you, why would you do that?
That's what I'm saying.
There's no point in it whatsoever. And like you said, the one thing about Rock is he's very calculated. So he's not going to do this, Coach, without thinking. We may do this without thinking, kidding around as a joke, but I don't see The Rock doing that. And it doesn't make any sense to me unless he's going to be. But then, Coach, you and I know in wrestling, everything's about promotion. Mm-hmm. It's The Rock, man. You should have started promoting that yesterday.
That's the key question, because coming up in about 12 minutes, we're going to be talking about the tickets, how many people were in the queue, and if you're gonna charge a premium, and you have a chance at The Rock, because I understand they may want to surprise or they may want to roll it out, whatever the case is, but I'm shocked at the timing of Rock's appearance on this podcast, and the reason I say that is because his movie already came out 2 weeks ago. And most of the time, a movie does not elevate. Yeah. It just, de-escalates. And so you're not there to promote the movie. He hasn't even mentioned anything about the WWE. So why would he go on this podcast knowing that these two guys who are both big wrestling fans are going to ask those questions directly?
Well, I mean, Coach, let's look at the other side of this coin. The movie did not do well. I mean, he said it himself. He went out there and talked about that. I think it did $6 million the first week. So this is a very, very popular podcast. So if your movie isn't doing well and maybe you're kind of on a little bit of a decline, to me, it would just make sense for your brand alone to get out there on a podcast that is very popular. I think that's why he would do it.
Kelsey's got $100 million deal for their podcast. Yeah. So you go from just doing shows to we need tons of downloads. So they got to go for the biggest guest. They had Tay-Tay already on. Taylor Swift was on when she announced hers, and now The Rock comes on yesterday. If anybody missed what we're talking about, I think it's very, very important to hear the joking and the tone. Let's play cut one, producer man. Here's The Rock on the New Heights podcast.
retiring from WWE, who should his final match be against?
Ooh, that's a good one. Just saying.
That says it all. That says it all.
Two of my favorites,
oh,
man.
That's I have a tiny bit of influence in the booking of it, but it really is just it's whoever John wants. Really, that's what it comes down to. Whoever he wants,
that makes sense.
that should he, right? It's not me or Nick Carr, Triple H. It's just it's whoever John wants. That guy has earned it. And you know what? The best part about John is he comes as advertised. So who you think he is, that's who he is. And he's a good dude. Cool. And I love that guy.
Yeah.
It feels like it, man. And everything that guy.
I do too. I travel with John Cena. I also love him. But Vince, we always look deeper here on this show. And for him to say that one line has everybody buzzing, a little bit of influence when the last time we heard from him on the Pat McAfee show, he said, hey, Final Boss was only there to sell tickets. Final Boss was not involved in the creative. The Final Boss had to take a step back and put all the shine. So why would he say, I still am involved in the potential booking? That's a big deal. That's a passing comment.
Well, I think, Coach, it sounds to me like he's kind of passing the heat. It sounds to me like he's kind of saying, well, the creative isn't that good right now, and it has been criticized a lot lately. And yeah, I have a little bit to do with it, but it's really not me. Like that's what it sounds like. Coach, I don't know how else to take that. How do you take that?
Well, I take it in a lot of ways that everything. If Rock is on the board of directors, if it's any other company, Vince, and it's the most famous guy on your board of directors, you're going to take what he says at face value because he's not Rock the wrestler right now. He's Rock the board member, which is why he said I have a little bit of influence. But the other part that I looked at this, Vince, and I thought, when he said whatever John wants, he's earned the right to have it his way, essentially. And then I think, well, if that's the case, then why would TKO say, you know what, we're going to put his last night to the highest bidder and not where it should be, which is Boston? If truly John Cena is dictating this whole thing, I guarantee you, Vince, they didn't go to John and go, hey, John, are you cool with us saying, Boston, if you don't want to pay us $10 million, we'll take it to a city that will. I find that very hard to believe.
Well, I think there's two different things going on, Coach. Coach, okay. It was confirmed to me, and I know this is fact by who confirmed it to me. As far as opponents go, as far as who's going to be in these matches, it is Cena. He is the one creatively saying, I want to work with so-and-so. And you can believe that by seeing he picked AJ. I mean, that definitely is a wrestler move. I'm not going to have a bad match with AJ Styles. We're going to tear the house down. But now you're talking about something on the business side. Now you're talking about dollars and cents with that Boston decision. So I think he has the say over, who he's going to work with creatively. But I think from a business point of view, dollars and cents, I don't think he's involved in that.
Fascinating. And I think you probably are right. I really, really do. I would love to see, and they'll never show this, I would love to see on Unreal the conversations that they have with him. Because remember in first episode when they were discussing the heel turn to start, you remember those 6 boxes? Triple H said, well, I had to call this guy, to call this guy, to call this guy. And now it's apparently all John. But it begs the question, Vince, if he's picking his opponents and the creative, why in the hell would he choose Brock and decide for that match to go that way and then not even address any of it since WrestlePalooza or before that? That is very confusing to me.
Well, Coach, I always do give them the benefit of the doubt. I do. And I'm still saying, if that's going to be his last match, it makes sense. If he wants, if they book it that way. But see, here's the problem we're having. You and I understand creative. We understand storytelling. We understand you tell all this stuff over time. They're not doing this. We're literally getting it month by month by month by month. So like if it was Brock and if it is Brock, we should have started telling that story. If it is Rock, we should have started telling that story. That's the problem. We're not getting any stories, so none of it really means anything. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think you're spot on. And I think this is a calculated mistake that they've treated this as a tour, as if they were a rock band and every city is just celebrating John Cena, instead of saying, we can use this opportunity to further other storylines along. And we have Boston on November 10th. We have Madison Square Garden on November 17th. He only has 4 appearances left, at least according to my count. Vince didn't even have opponents for those matches, and people assume he's wrestling on those 2 particular. We don't know that. So to me, it's very confusing. But I think you're spot on. I really, really do.
I mean, Coach, when you tell me 4 matches, that's somebody telling me as the writer, Vince, you have 4 more times to use John Cena. You're not telling any stories, man.
No, what are you going to do? Tell a story in the A's and then have it wrestle in the D's?
There's no way in the world you're telling that story with 4 appearances. So yeah, you're right, Coach. It's opponent by opponent by opponent. I'm even hearing talk that last opponent is Gunther. Like, really?
I'm telling you right now. You know how I feel about Gunther. I'm sure he's a very, very nice man.
Yeah.
But if they're picking him because of his pace of match, Cena's proven with AJ Styles, he can still go. He can still dig. He's having some of the best matches of his entire career. But, man, if it's Gunther, it almost feels like the early Roman Reigns days when Vince just shoved him down our throats and put him out there for multiple WrestleMania main events when he got booed out of the building. And then at one point it flipped and it switched, and all of a sudden he became the biggest star in the business. I don't see that for Gunther.
Yeah.
I really, really don't. And I think there's a lot more people like me than people that absolutely love him. I think that would be a mistake. But if it's Cena's choice, why would Cena want that, I guess, is the question.
Well, he'd want that. He'd want that if there's a lack of choices. I mean, if I have 4 guys to choose from. But again, listen, I'm going to sit here and give them the benefit of the doubt. I can't believe it's going to be Rock because there's no way, no how you wouldn't be planning this at least 3 months out.
At least.
So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. I still say it's going to be Brock Lesnar for him to get over on Lesnar going out.
It has to be. Or else that was such a wasted appearance. Just to make him look weak, to make him look not strong. And I'm still shocked at it. Rock, to me, a 3-month build. When did we stop worrying about storylines in big matches? If this was WrestleMania and it was his last match at WrestleMania, you'd have a 3-month build, would you not?
You absolutely would. And Coach, here's the bottom line where I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying, okay, Lesnar squashed them because they're coming back to Lesnar. Think about that. Even if they went to that and Cena goes over on his way out, what does that do for Brock Lesnar? Lesnar's still on the roster. That's what I'm saying. This is, Coach, sometimes we get criticized for negativity and whatnot. No, man, this is bad booking. There's no way around it. This is bad booking. The guy told you, here is my date. He told you a year out, here is my date. And even when they got the monkey wrench, because it's obvious there was a monkey wrench in there, you got to adjust. And then you got to, okay, what's the 6-month plan now?
I don't know. Let's put a pin in it because coming up on the other side, should the WWE have booked the last match in a stadium of some kind? Why do I ask? We'll explain on the other side. This is the Coach and Bro Show live on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. All right, you degenerates out there. We continue on. By the way, any super stickers today, we do them at the break. And then what do we have coming up after the top of the hour, Vince? For those that do $10 or more, we have the what?
We've got the Wheel of Doom.
The Wheel of Doom. Who's going to be the next person with
Do that again for me with the hat. I like that. Do that again.
the Wheel of Doom?
Oh, I like that. I like that. Very nice.
We do have one. Who is the greatest wrestler mind in the business and the greatest mind doing podcasts? Who would you say is the greatest mind in the business right now?
Now, is that actively?
I would say so. Or all time, either way.
God, who would you say? That's
I know the answer I get a lot on my radio show, and that's TJ, Natalia's husband.
interesting.
That whenever there's a big match, he's usually the agent behind the match.
Well, if it's all time, I would say Pat Patterson.
No, I didn't even think about that. Of course. Vince, that's the shits. What do you think, Pat? That's the shits. He's the only person I've ever seen, Vince, that could tell Vince McMahon how it is and not worry for 1 second of any repercussions.
Absolutely. He was great.
But most of the time, he was also dead on.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah.
He was correct. This man, I had a lot. We played golf a couple of times, and he beat my ass on the golf course too. He was a really good golfer.
Yeah, he loved golf. Loved it.
How much do you think he really tailed off towards the end of his career because of his age and health? But how much do you think they missed just him being around even once a month?
Coach, probably more than anybody else. Literally probably more than anybody else. Like even like a JR, probably more than anybody else.
Wow. Boy, I wish all of you watching right now or listening right now could have met or seen. And you saw Pat Patterson on TV as one of the Stooges for you older fans. But, man, this guy behind the scenes was a wrestling genius. He saw stuff that nobody else saw. All right, we're back on Stadium and Bally Sports Live in just 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. The Coach and Bro Show as we continue our 2 hours of domination here on Stadium and Bally Sports Live, as I like to call. We absolutely love our Thursdays here. Don't forget, we do have a premium pop-up tonight before Thursday Night Football. We encourage all of you to join us for that. Now, Vince, we continue with the John Cena storyline because it's interesting, and one of the things you love to say is they're not going to change the ticket prices until the demand goes away or until people stop buying. So you could get into the queue in the last couple of days, and the on sale for his last match is Friday, tomorrow. But there are some people who could get the pre-sale if you had different things, and I don't know how it is, but I had a guy call in yesterday on my radio show, Off the Ropes, and he bought 4 tickets. And he says, Coach, I don't feel bad about it. It's his last match. And I said, how much did you spend? He bought 4 tickets in the first bowl, not even on the floor. How much do you think he spent?
$4,000?
$1,200 a ticket. Now, there were over 57,000 people in the queue. They could have, if they had this thing priced right, Vince, they could have gone to a baseball stadium with 40,000 or a football stadium that holds 50 or 60,000. And I wonder if TKO is kicking themselves a little bit for not at least considering, even though it's only a 2-hour show on NBC and Peacock, at least considering a stadium, because they're going to leave a lot of money on the table according to these numbers.
Coach, I've got to make a quick comparison to you that blows my mind.
Yes.
Blows my mind. Coach, is it fair to say at 82 years old, this is probably Paul McCartney's last tour? Is that fair to say? 82 years old. Guys, we are talking about a legend, an icon whose career started in 1961. That's who we're talking about. I just went to see him at Coors Field. My daughter, through Ticketmaster, it was through Ticketmaster, got tickets on the field, which means we're floor level on the field. Coach, $130 a piece. How can anybody justify to me $1,200 for a wrestling ticket compared to $130 to see an icon?
Now, let me ask you this. At $130, was Coors Field full?
Full to the rafters. Yes.
For some people, it's more important to fill it up. And
Yeah.
I'm sure at 82 years of age, because how it works for a guy like Paul McCartney is they do have some say. Because I remember years ago, Garth Brooks was like this. He refused to put tickets over $30.
Right.
$30 for
Right.
Garth Brooks in the 90s. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he would do 6 or 7 shows in one venue to cut down production costs to keep the ticket prices where they were.
Right.
I went and saw him in Vegas on his one-man show, which was not great because I wanted the full band. But the first thing Garth Brooks did when he walked out onto the stage was apologize for the ticket prices, which were $260 in Vegas, $260.
Yeah.
He apologized. So to your point, it's almost nauseating at this point. But I wonder, just because there's 57,000 people in the queue, how many, if they got the opportunity to buy these tickets, did? Meaning, if they are in demand, Vince, this thing should sell out in less than 10 minutes on Friday, if truly they're priced correctly.
Coach, what do you think about that business plan, which obviously they're charging as much as they possibly can, and they're going to sell tickets other than going the other way, little less expensive, but we're going to sell a ton more. How do you feel about that philosophy?
I think long term it's silly, and I think it's you're what's that saying? Cutting off your nose to spite your face, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And to me, you've got a company that owes $6 billion, and they have this gigantic year financially with the deals, but they also looked at this John Cena tour as a way to make the most money possible. But once Cena is gone, and it kind of reminds me of David Ortiz a few years ago, the great Red Sox slugger. I was on his board of directors, and he was like, man, I'm going to get all this money for my charity every year, because he got like $4 million. And the next year it went down to like 750,000 because he wasn't playing anymore. Because those things don't last. And you look at it and go, this isn't going to happen year after year after year. And so unless they bring it down, and I had a lot of people on social media send me notes saying, Coach, at WrestlePalooza, I waited until now with, you can get tickets on your phone. So there's a lot of fans, Vince, that are now standing outside the venue right until the show starts, and all the scalpers that have tickets available just want to get something for them, and they're getting tickets for $100, $140. I think that's going to be the new normal, which means, did you hear Tessitore last week on whatever show it was where he said massive crowd, huge crowd? What did he not say, Vince?
Sold out crowd. Coach, again, if I am a wrestling fan, that's what I'm doing. I am waiting till the very last minute to buy a ticket, and that's the advice I would give you. My advice to you wouldn't be don't go. If you enjoy it and you want to go. But wait till the last minute to get your tickets.
That's the thing. Yesterday on Off the Ropes, we compared the bowl where the tickets were all about $1,200. And then, sometimes you get lucky on a show and somebody calls in to tell you their story. We're like, oh, wow. And that was the bowl. But Vince, the tickets that are right next to the ramp where Cena is going to come out, $4,400. If you want to get 10 or 15 feet away from John Cena. And then there are premium packages for other things. I think there's meet and greets and stuff like that. I wonder how Cena actually feels, because he's him and Rock. There were certain guys that loved to walk in and talk numbers. Yeah. They loved to see, because back then it was, how much is my bonus going to be? How much is my talent pool bonus going to be? So they've always been locked in with the numbers. And I wonder how Cena feels about the fact that now they could have. And this is where, to me, Vince, sometimes things are worth more than the money. And if I'm TKO, I'm saying, let's make this the best possible it can be for John. We're still going to make a lot of money. They still would have made a lot of money in Boston. Yeah. But they went for a bot show, which I'm guessing is probably $5 or $10 million just to bring the show there. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and again, Coach, like you suggested, even if you did it in a stadium, this is one of those things where you're buying a ticket to say, I was there for Cena's last match. That's huge. You can't do that at $4,000, Coach, but you can do that at a reasonable price.
If I'm spending, and this is always times 2 or times 4. So it's never 4,400. It's going to be $9,000.
Yeah.
And then the thing that I love about going to events with my kids or watching when I was in the WWE, when I would watch fans, sometimes, Vince, I would actually do this because I would run the concourse during the day and I would look to see where our merch stands were at. Sometimes I love to go up and if there was a door near a merch stand, I would just stick my face out. If I needed kind of a remotivation or I needed some, if I was feeling a little bit down, because the fans could always pick me up. And I have a soft spot for dads and their sons and their daughters. I love seeing that. And if you're spending $9,000, there's a good chance that when you walk in, dad's telling little Johnny or little Susie, sorry guys, I can't buy you a $40 t-shirt because I just spent $9,000 getting you in here.
You know, Coach, it would be interesting to research that. I would love to know the prices of merch at these shows. We've never discussed that.
No.
I mean, are they charging, prices, like I said, compared to a Paul McCartney, or are the merch prices matching what people are paying for tickets? I would love to know what merch prices are.
What were the t-shirts for Paul McCartney?
Bro, I bought a beautiful concert poster. Beautiful, very, very thick paper, framed it, $30.
Wow.
$30.
But a guy like him is super smart in the business. A guy like him knows that because most young performers now, young ones, they have the AIGs or the promoters, and the promoters, whatever they pay to the star, the talent, they then have to go and price the tickets so that they make their money back, and that includes paying the venue, the rent, and all that kind of stuff. But when you're 82 and you're Paul McCartney, you have the ability to sit in these rooms and say, no, we're not going to do $300 or $400. So he brings his number down probably, and then that allows the tickets to come down. But he has to be willing to do that.
Well, Coach, this is where Vince McMahon comes into the conversation. Paul McCartney is clearly not doing this for the money. The guy's 82 years old. He's got money. If he had 50 more lifetimes, it's not about the money. It's about the love of it. And it's also about the fans. He knows there's Beatle fans since the 60s. That was Vince's mentality. Vince wasn't looking at bottom line, what was the house? It was his love of the business, and he wanted to make it affordable to you. That's the difference. With TKO, it's this. That's all it is. There's no emotion tied.
And I'm so glad you just said that, because I think that because of these little, we call them Easter eggs that they're laying around for us to connect the dots, that because of that, because these guys are not stupid. Mark Shapiro helped run ESPN at one point. He's not a stupid human being.
Right.
But I think he's a little tone deaf, unless, Vince, that they have no desire to own this company long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
If they don't, then this makes all the sense in the world, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a money grab, and get as much as you can, as fast as you can, and sell it and move on. Yes.
We're going to talk on the other side. Nick Khan was doing a recent interview, and he talked about WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. It may be a little far-fetched, but Vince, could you not see a scenario where they were leading up to WrestleMania in 2027, and all of a sudden they say, big announcement coming on Friday, and all of a sudden there are the Saudis and Turkey al-Sheikh, and they say, hey, we just bought WWE right before WrestleMania. Not shocking to me. That
Not
wouldn't
at
be
all.
shocking to me.
Especially when they introduce the new CEO of the company and Vince McMahon comes out holding his bust. Come on.
All right, coming up on the other side, we're only about this show goes so fast because there's so many cool things. But as you can see, the sun is up, and I'm feeling sunny today. But is the vision? It's quite the tease. Did the vision happen too soon? Did it happen because of an injury? Is the injury real? All of that from a writing perspective. We've got the greatest in the game. What would he have done with that injury? We're going to ask him next. This is the Coach and Bro Show every single Thursday live on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. All right, you degenerates. We continue on here on our YouTube channel. We do all of our super stickers at the breaks, and then at the top of the hour, traffic jam. Vince says, good morning, Coach and Vince. Where do you see WWE and AEW in the next decade? Vince McMahon could purchase these companies if he decides to. Thank you. I think Vince, that to save a couple billion, I think he goes into business with the Saudis. I think that's where it's going.
I think so too. I think that was the whole reason for him setting up his new company, without a shadow of a doubt. He's not doing anything else with it. He's got people working there. He's got people running it. They've not made one move. So what are they sitting on?
And he's not leaving it to his kids. We know that.
No, we know that.
So
no,
you can't take it with you. Yeah. The AEW side of events, that's all their money. I mean, his dad's a cash register. Literally, the money never stops coming in. 13 billion or more. So I think they stay with that, but I 1000% think that the Saudis get involved. I really do. 55 billion for EA Sports recently. Come on, 55 billion. Kartik the artist, you will be on the Wheel of Doom after the top of the hour. What was the most intense experience you had working in the wrestling industry, and what did you learn from it? What about you, Vince?
Wow, man, I hate to say this, but I mean, nothing matched the death of Owen. And
I was there for that too.
Yeah, and when you talk about what did you learn, you learn about life, and you learn anything can happen at any time, and we are not guaranteed tomorrow, man.
No doubt about it. Take it for 40 seconds. I got to close my door real quick. That sun is bothering me.
Yeah, go ahead.
That night was crazy.
Yeah, being there that night was just so surreal, man. Like it was happening, but it was not happening. And it was the only time in my life, I mean, I ever experienced anything like that. That's why, Coach, a lot of people to this day, they get on Vince for the show continuing, and I try to explain to them, nobody was in their right mind that night, Coach.
I know.
Come on.
I know. We're back live in just 5 seconds. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Coach and Bro. We have crossed the bottom of the hour. If you are watching us live, 11:32 a.m. Eastern in the East, 8:32 Eastern in the West. If you miss any of the show, of course, you can catch it on demand on our Coach and Bro or BTT YouTube page. I encourage you to do that, and do it right now as the page continues to grow. Now, Vince, something happened over the weekend, and I cannot wait to talk to Vince about this, because there's so many different ways to write a show. There's so many different ways to utilize talent. But the WWE, for some reason, has decided that if you get hurt, you are off the show. You are out of sight, out of mind. So I bring to you this, that a move I've never seen before, Seth Rollins decides to attempt to do. Head first, coast to coast. I've seen Shane do it feet first. I've never seen it head first. Don't know why, but he came down, and I watched the video back over and over and over, and I do believe that, unlike in July, this is a real injury. I really think this shoulder is really, really hurt. So then they decide Monday on Raw, and we were on just like a couple hours after the show ended, so we had no idea. And they decide to make the turn, and this group hasn't even been a group for 3 months. So I ask you, Vince, why did they do it? And do you think they pulled the trigger a little bit too soon, simply because he could be out for an extended period of time?
Yeah, well, Coach, again, when I was writing, if somebody got injured, JR would come to me, and here's what he would say: Vince, Austin, did something with his knee. He can't work for 6 weeks. Fine. That to me is he can't wrestle for 6 weeks. No, I don't need Austin to wrestle. I need Austin on the show. I need to put Austin in the ring. I need Austin to cut a promo. So that's what he would tell me. It was assumed they were going to be on the show. We've seen the WWE do this over and over and over again. Liv, Rhea Ripley, Gunther, Seth Rollins has been. We've seen Bianca. And to me, this is lack of creativity. You don't know what to do with them if they can't wrestle a match. So obviously, Coach, we know they've shown us a history of dragging things out to nauseum. Like, let's face it, Judgment Day was dead when Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest left. Judgment Day means nothing, but we drag that out. The bloodline, perfect example, drag it out. So this was definitely stopped prematurely. I'm not buying it was because of an injury, only because, Coach, that makes zero sense. That makes no sense to me.
So you think they were going to do it regardless of if he got hurt Saturday night or not?
No, well, if they were, here's the only. I think there's two reasons why. If he's not hurt, I think there's only two reasons to do it. Number one, they're getting pressure from Netflix or they're getting pressure from ESPN. Guys, you got to do something. And we know Triple H is what's the quick fix? We know that's Triple H. Or number two, Coach, from a wrestling perspective, bro, after the match with Cody, there were no opponents for Seth Rollins. Who is he going to work with next? You do this turn, now it gives Seth two more opponents. Those are the only two things that make any sense to me.
Vince, I could not be more disappointed in you. I mean, we now know that CM Punk is the number one contender. And does he have a history? Oh, yeah. They've had a bunch of matches already. Okay. So you're probably right. But they did that on the same exact show. To me, Vince, I was actually into this. I love factions, and I love building them. They had just added Becky to it. And to me, I really thought, man, if they could really sink their creative juices into this, and you've got a leader who's in a sling, who is now starting to be the puppet master for his two, cohorts in crime. And all of a sudden he just becomes this figurehead. To me, that's what I love about wrestling. And I was like, I could really get into that, because if you're Braun Breaker and Bronson, would you really, apparently they did it, but would you really attack a guy that only has one arm? But he hadn't sold the injury yet. On Monday Night Raw, he was still, I'm healthy. But what if they waited a week or two and all of a sudden you're not going to attack somebody that is injured?
Well, Coach, even if they go with the injury angle, he's going to be out because of a tsunami and a spear? That's what's putting him out. Coach, here's the funny thing. I dare anybody to go back and look at the Attitude Era. Triple H blew out his knee and was on the show on crutches. Go watch. So Triple H knows better than anybody. Even if somebody gets hurt, there are ways to utilize them, Coach.
I don't know why it's so hard to understand. And I would say this is another TKO not understanding the business, but they're not the ones that are writing the show. This falls directly on a guy who was in the business at the most popular time. And I know we mention this a lot, but understand, stars, when you're making millions of dollars, Vince, I shoot the movie 4 days a week, but they need to be there every single step. And also, this is your world heavyweight champion. And when you're the world heavyweight champion, what are you, Vince? You're the biggest star in the company. That's how they position you. So if Seth Rollins is the biggest star right now, how do you write him out of the show just because he has an injury to something that he can fly with? It's a shoulder. It's not a blown out knee. It's not a torn ankle or he has to be on crutches. He can still walk. He can still move. He can still get on airplanes. To me, it's a calculated mistake, and I can't figure out why they do it. But if it was you, how would you write this whole thing?
Well, Coach, I just want to add one more thing, because there's another way to look at this. I'm looking at this from Seth Rollins's perspective, because here's the difference and here's the problem. Let's say that's Austin. Austin's not missing a show.
No.
Austin's mentality is, if I'm out for 2 weeks, Taker's taking my spot, Rock's taking my spot, Mick's taking my spot. That's the mentality. Nobody's taking my spot. You're not keeping Austin out. What about the talent? Let me tell you why that's not Seth's mentality. Because Seth is Hunter's boy. And Seth knows that's not going to affect how he's used going forward. He is Hunter's boy. That is the difference. There, Coach, I'm all for, even when Liv got hurt, I'm all for, you need the surgery, you get the surgery, Doctor tells you need to rest for 2 weeks, you need to rest for 2 weeks. As soon as that period is over, you are back on my television screen, because what they lack more than anything is stars. That's what they lack more than anything. You can't afford to shelf somebody because they injured a shoulder.
It drives me insane when I hear people say, man, they are deep in the WWE. Because you hear it all the time. Best roster they've ever had. Most expensive roster they've ever had. And if you look at the main event players, and if you include, because to me right now, they still needed to build up Braun and Bronson.
Absolutely.
To me, if you put Braun Breaker on the headline, if you're driving past Madison Square Garden and it's Braun Breaker against CM Punk, are you mentally, as a wrestling fan, at a point where you say, yep, he's the biggest star against he's the biggest star? I don't think they're even close to being there yet, are they?
Absolutely not. And again, this was done prematurely. They were forced to do this. So whether it was pressure from the network, whether Rollins needed appointments, I'm not buying he's hurt, because that doesn't make any sense.
I am buying that he's hurt. So we disagree. I think he is. But I also agree with you that it doesn't make any sense. Well, and I haven't seen even one promo yet. If Braun Breaker is going to be I did love how they did it. I love the execution because they took their time. Mm-hmm. Spear, Bronson, make your decision. All right, I'll drag him. I'll do it. Paul, make your decision. And so I think a lot of that had Paul written all over it. Just the cinema of it all. But Vince, I need to be invested in Braun Breaker as A-lister. And I haven't seen him walk to the ring, unless I missed it, stand in the middle of the ring, look into the camera, look into the hard camera, and cut a promo to make me believe he's ready to ride on his own.
1,000%. And here's something that's interesting too. And again, I think this plays into the boys. Vince didn't have boys. You know when you were Vince's boy? When you made money for him. That's when you were. When you didn't make money for him, he wasn't your boy. But again, it's this just sitting him because of this injury thing. And let me tell you, Coach, what would have happened if this was Vince? Seth Rollins is injury prone. Maybe we should not. Seth Rollins has been injured over and over and over again. And bro, whether or not he's Triple H's boy, you're going to put somebody out there as a top guy when every 6 months the guy's getting injured. He would have been labeled injury prone under Vince McMahon years ago, Coach, years ago.
And if they were going to be putting the company behind them, that was during the pay-per-view era. And pay-per-view was the lifeblood of the company. And if you're planning on Seth Rollins being the main event at Royal Rumble, whatever it is, and you're worried about him getting injured, and that changes all of your storylines, you're second-guessing yourself. And Vince, the two injuries, and I know the first one was a fake injury, but it was still a move that he didn't need to make. That move on Saturday, he didn't need to do that. I've never seen a move like that. Yeah. Head first.
Coach, I got to tell you, I have to tell you, that first injury was not a fake injury.
You think it was a tweak, like a real tweak?
Yes, and because he had hurt the knee numerous times before, he thought it was a lot worse than it was when I think he went to Andrews, and when he found, oh no, stay off it for a couple of weeks, that's when they decided to go with that angle. He hurt himself in that match. I don't care what anybody says. And Coach, you know sports better than anybody else. What happens when a pro gets labeled injury prone? What happens in any sport?
Cut, or in the NFL, you're cut, or your guaranteed money is less than, or you don't get signed and you got to sign with a one-year deal in baseball or basketball. No long-term deals. No long-term deals. All right, coming up on the other side, what a great show this is today, man. So much good content. Coming up on the other side, is Chris Jericho leaving Easter eggs for us to pick up? Well, I'm going to tell you why I think so. Very interesting. Not a lot of people are picking up on this. And also coming up top of the hour, the Wheel of Doom. Coach and Bro Show, Stadium, Valley Sports Live. All right, we continue on here on our YouTube page, and I know, Vince, in the last break, you mentioned the Owen Hart night, and I was there from a different perspective. You were there backstage and dealing with it. I hadn't even started in the WWE. I had done some stories on it. They gave me 7th row tickets, and Vince, it happened in the corner where I was sitting.
Oh,
So
I
it's
can't
probably
even.
15 feet from where I was sitting.
Yeah.
And that was the night, Vince, that changed the trajectory of my career forever.
Yeah.
Forever. Without that happening, I do not believe that I had a WWE career, maybe not even an ESPN career. I don't know. But I know this, that when the show continued, I went back to the station after the show, and the place was buzzing. And this was before sports guys even had cell phones. They couldn't even call me, Vince, at that point in time. And I was up all night. I was on Good Morning America. I was on Larry King Live. I was on all these shows, which led to the first SmackDown being in Kansas City. They couldn't sell any tickets 3 months later.
Yeah.
So they came to me. They
Wow.
came to me. I did Shawn Michaels. I did some stories, and they liked me, and that's how I got introduced to the WWE. So, Vince, without that night, my career isn't what it is. I really believe that.
Yeah, and that's like where my faith really comes in, because the circumstances that even led to him being lifted to, repelling, the circumstances around that, it was never written in. And that's a whole other story for another time. But that's why I really believe, Coach, like, it's kind of when it's your time, it's your time. And there's no explanation, and there's no it could have been avoided. It's your time.
I have the same type of faith. My dad's a United Methodist pastor. He was a preacher for 40 some odd years, and he believes the same thing. I think that's why I've gotten to a point in my life, Vince, that I want to do things I enjoy with people that I enjoy them with, and I'm passionate about it. And I'm passionate about this, as are you, which is why we love doing this show. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. Remember, any more super stickers, we'll get to all of them after we go off stadium at the top of the hour, and also do the Wheel of Doom. So any more, send them in. We'll collect them, answer all your questions. We're back live in 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. The Coach and Bro Show continues on here on Stadium Valley Sports Live. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like button on your way in. It really helps the show grow. So, Vince, this is...
Back up. It'll take 1 minute.
I would love to. Yeah,
I love this. Coach, you and I, we're getting labeled older, irrelevant, this, that, and the other thing. And I embrace that old, that time. My dad's 94 years old.
Okay.
My dad was at the game when Thompson hit the shot heard around the world. He was at that game. 1951. Ralph Thompson, whatever. He was at the game.
Okay.
Bro, when the Dodgers win, my father calls me cursing out the Dodgers at 94 years old. And I'm like, Dad, they moved out of Brooklyn in 1958. The New York Giants no longer exist. At what point do we get over the hatred of the Dodgers? I crack up, Coach, every single time.
The answer is
Thompson, by the way.
Never.
It's unbelievable, right?
Never. That's a true fan. Your dad's a true fan.
Oh my God. Every time they win, as soon as the last pitch, my phone rings and he's cussing. 94 years old, he's cussing. I'm like, Dad, it's done.
Awesome. I think that's awesome. I think that's
I thought
awesome.
you'd love that as a sports fan, man.
Oh, I absolutely do. So it's interesting that Chris Jericho, who we have not really seen on AEW television for months, at least, when I speed through it. But he was interviewed the other day. He was at some opening or whatever, and he was asked about, because his deal reportedly is up at the end of 2025. And he was asked about a return, a final run in the WWE at 54, 55 years of age. And he's like, hey, I never rule anything out. But then, Vince, this came out yesterday. And he does this cruise every single year where he takes a bunch of wrestlers, and my girl Gabby from The Last Word, she's going to be a part of it. Chris Van Vliet's going to be a part of it. And then fans come on and they get hundreds of people on there, and it's a ton of fun. Live podcast, whole deal. Vince, do you know that this used to be an AEW sponsored cruise? I looked at the entire list of celebrities and wrestlers. How many AEW wrestlers, Vince, do you think are booked on this cruise, which launches November 7th of 2026?
Coach, I don't think I know. 0.
Bingo. 0. And if he was still in good standing, even if he wasn't in good standing with AEW, there would be a couple of AEW guys on there. So the fact that there's 0, what does that say to you?
It says a lot to me because, well, here's the funny thing, Coach. If this was typically one of the boys, you know that Jericho would be bringing them on the cruise to give them a payday. Mm-hmm. So this tells you nobody at AEW needs a payday. That's what this tells you. They're all getting paid very, very well. But it's very, very interesting. But again, let's play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Do we know there isn't an AEW event going on that weekend? Do we know there isn't something big going on business-wise for AEW?
Okay, I would say this, that if he's going to be in AEW, or if he plans to be in AEW, Vince, he would never pick these dates to book it in the first place because he's still an AEW talent. That's where I'm trying to get to is it feels like he won't be. And by the way, Chris, we know you don't have those six-pack abs. Let's stop with that. To me, he's looking at next November as either I'm not going to be in AEW or I'm going to be a free agent, or if I negotiate with the WWE, I'm going to have these dates that I pull out because they're letting everybody else go and do their extra stuff. So the reason I think he books it now, because it's over a year out, so he can get it on the books when he needs to get his dates pulled out of his calendar.
But also, Coach, I would push back a little bit because Chris Jericho is one of these guys that is very smart, very intelligent. So I am telling you, what comes first for Chris Jericho is the Chris Jericho brand. Mm-hmm. That's what comes first. Not even the company he's working for. His brand comes first. He's established that for decades and decades and decades. That Jericho cruise is the Jericho brand, and I believe that's going to get precedent over the company he's working for.
Wow. Well, Producer Man just looked up the schedule on the AEW site. They only have stuff through August of next year. There's nothing on the calendar for September to December of 2026. I 1000% agree with you. And also, when I look at the different, and he's the one guy also that kind of has spit in the face of we've got to separate the different companies. I mean, I think we're almost to a point where that's kind of nonsense anyway, with TNA working with NXT being WWE, AEW, ROH, all of that. But when you look at some of these talents, Vince, Jeff Hardy, he's a WWE TNA guy now. Saraya, she just left the AEW because she didn't like how she was being treated. She didn't like how her career went. So maybe I'm looking way too much into this. But then you have Ted DiBiase. He's still with the WWE. Shotzi Blackheart. She's indie. Carlito, just WWE. It's just a lot of WWE and indies.
I think we have a more serious problem.
Okay.
I'm looking at some of these names. I don't see a Jonathan Coachman. Listen, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not going to single anybody out. A lot of these names fall way below the coach. I mean, coach, not for anything. Did you get a jingle for this cruise, Coach?
I did not. Okay. I did not.
All right.
And the fact that Gabby is one of the prime passengers, and I brought her to the brand. I created the Gabby brand here at BTT. And Chris Van Vliet, I love him. And he's become the pod father, as I like to call him. It makes a lot of sense. But Vince, he's got the biggest wrestling podcast in the world, and he's not doing his show there. All those other 3 live podcasts are down there. So I got to talk to him. I mean, why are you going if you're not doing your show?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that don't make sense.
A lot of things that don't make sense, yes.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. All right, we only got to...
I could understand me not being on there, Coach, because he would be afraid that I'd get thrown overboard. But everybody loves the coach. Come on now.
I will say this. That when we start doing live shows like Van Vliet does them before every big event, he says they're a ton of fun, a lot of work though. But
Yeah.
I believe this show is going to get to the point in the next 2 or 3 years where we can do live shows. And I think that you're so polarizing that that's going to drive ticket sales, because I think people really want to be in the room with you because they want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
And I really believe that.
And also to give everybody a heads up, if that does happen, I will be wearing a bulletproof vest. If anybody has any ideas, Coach,
No.
I'm just letting you know now.
There's no pre-show meet and greets with you. We're not throwing out those $750 tickets. Oh, following TKO's lead. Oh, let's go. Little Comedy Club, $750. By the way, speaking of that, the Undertaker's podcast, his one-man show that he has to do like 6 a year, that sold out in Australia.
Good for
Does
him.
that surprise you?
No, not at all. I mean, especially overseas, not at all. Lot of heat though around the Undertaker and the wife. I mean, we should talk about that one week. That's very interesting.
Well, I know Mickie James just got inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame, and she lost her spot on LFG for his wife, essentially, is what happened. I don't know the story behind it, but it's got to be a little bit frustrating when you have a really cool gig and you lose it for no fault of your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially somebody like Mickie James, who is such one of the sweetest women I know in the world.
The best. And I've heard through the grapevine that she is she's definitely disappointed, because that's a big show. I mean, that's probably a $75,000 to $150,000 payday for each season.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a national show. It really, really is. We will continue on our YouTube page at the top of the hour. Vince, well done by you. Producer man, I need my one shot. And understand that we are here every single Thursday on Stadium and Bally Sports Live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Also, we have a Monday episode at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend of pro wrestling. Remember, it's supposed to be fun, so let's make it that. And let's see how fast John Cena's final night sells out on Friday. In the meantime, for Vince Russo from russosbrand.com, producer man, Mikey P, Double D, I'm the coach. We'll see you next time on the Coach and Bro Show. All right, you degenerates out there on YouTube. Now we have some fun. We continue on. Hitesh, our guy Hitesh Vince says, people say Cena is the biggest draw ever. No, Hogan, Austin, Rock were on different levels, ratings, buy rates, records, and sellouts. It's getting irritating. There's a lot of different ways to look at it as far as what you're looking at. How do you see that, Vince?
Yeah, Hatish, every time I see something like this, I come to one conclusion. People that say this, and Cena's a huge star. I take nothing away from John Cena. But, Coach, people that say this did not see Hogan's run. They didn't. You didn't see Hogan in his prime in the early 80s. You just didn't see it. If you saw it, you would not make a statement like this, as great as John Cena is.
So Hitesh is frustrated because he does not believe that Cena is. So he actually agrees with you. He agrees with you.
Yeah.
Now, the Brooklyn Brawler, who was kind of my right hand during the day, he was found by Hulk Hogan at a show at Madison Square Garden, and he was like, Vince, you're going to pay him $500 a show, and he's going to drive me everywhere. $500 a show at that time was a lot of money, and they would do what Vince, anywhere from 25 to 40 days in a row.
Yeah.
They'd have show on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays because they got paid by the show. There was no guaranteed contracts back then. And the Brawler would tell me that no matter where they went, they would have to eat in the car sometimes, because he couldn't even get through a meal in any restaurant they went to. Couldn't even get through the meal. So I agree with you. I think Hogan is probably the most recognizable star of all time. Some would say The Rock, but I think Hogan. Hogan had it. Deathmare. Let's go to him next. Jericho was the first one to put Cena over on pay-per-view. Also, as a fan, Coach, did WWE ever help David Benoit? It would warm my heart to know that. I don't know the answer to the second question. I do know this. It's been very public that Chris Benoit trained me. We were very close. That was you asked about intense time. That was an intense time.
Yeah.
That really, really was. I don't know if you know this, Vince, but that happened on the day that I got married.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. So that was, man, when I think back, whoo,
Wow.
they've done a lot of under the radar good things.
Yep.
And I don't know if you saw this. I can't remember the guy's name. I saw his video the other day, and it really frustrated me. If anybody in the chat can help me with this. No, me and Vince are not going on the Jericho cruise. So there was a guy that just tore his ankle up. He's in a cast, and he was a WWE star. You remember all the cuts that they had last week?
Yeah.
And so he's in rehab. He cannot wrestle. He cannot work. And so WWE and TKO called him, and he had just done a video saying, listen, I'm fired up. I'm going to come back. I'm going to rehab. And they cut him, Vince. They said, we'll pay for your rehab, but they're cutting him, and it's going to be 6 months or more before he can wrestle again. So they're literally not going to pay him anymore, but pay for his rehab. So he can't even work. Vince, that's diabolical to me.
Yeah, that is diabolical. And again, man, I am going to go back to Vince because Vince was always known to take care of his father's guys. So Vince was taking care of former wrestlers into their 80s and 90s, Coach. And you look at that compared to something like this, and it's a different mindset, man.
It's a different mindset. That's how the Legends contracts began.
Yeah.
And I remember, and most of the time the Legends deals, Vince, were we're going to pay you enough to live off of. Because can you imagine Kamala, the Ugandan giant, trying to get a normal job?
Yeah.
I mean, it's embarrassing on one level, almost impossible on another.
Yep.
So you pay him 50, 60 grand, a livable wage, and all Vince asked them to do, when we call you, just come.
Yeah. That's it.
There was no, you have to do a certain amount of appearances, and the guys were happy with that.
Yeah.
You would meet these veterans, and they were so grateful because they knew they didn't have a 401k. They knew they couldn't wrestle anymore, but they were getting enough money to live on. And Vince never broadcast that.
Yeah.
The only reason we know it because we talked to the guys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how many guys get Legends contracts now under TKO. That's going to be interesting.
Well, I really want to try. I haven't even talked to you about this, but I really want to try and get your boy Kevin Nash on the show.
Oh, yeah. I can make that. I think I could make that happen.
I think it'd be very, very important because did you see his post the other day about his Legends deal?
Yes, the money. Yeah, and I've heard this from a couple of people now. Not just now. I'm trying to think of. You know who I heard this from too?
Who's that?
I heard this from. I talked to Cross the other day. And he actually said he had a conversation with Kevin, and this is kind of happening across the board. It wasn't just Kevin. This is kind of happening across the board. That's what he said to me. Coach, we got to have producer man look something up.
What's that?
Somebody in my Twitch yesterday, and I said, you're going to have to send me proof of this because this is a hard pill for me to swallow. Somebody said to me on Twitch yesterday that if you go to the WWE Superstar, Active Superstar page, Triple H is on that page. That's what I did.
Mikey P.
Yes.
All right, Mikey P. Go and look that up. Active Superstar page at WWE.
Yes, that's what I did. The same thing. I'm like, I am not going to believe that until somebody confirms it.
All right, we'll get back to that in a second. I still and last night I was watching NXT. Yes, on purpose. And it was one of the worst shows they've had in a while, if I'm just being, completely honest. And at the beginning, I hadn't watched their open, maybe ever. And so I had it on my DVR. So I started, I was like, I'll just watch it from the beginning instead of fast forwarding to the match. His voice is at the beginning of NXT too, when he says now, then, forever. That's his voice. I can't seem to wrap my head around why he's making himself the face, unless they just think that the Dana White model works in the WWE, which to me it doesn't, because the two different things, Vince, are WWE, you have the same wrestlers every single week. In the UFC, fighters only fight 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah,
A year.
I think that's him trying to make himself bulletproof. Coach, I want to ask you this question. As you say that about NXT, I want to ask you this question. When they signed all these deals with all these networks for all this programming, do you think they had any idea of what that was going to mean creatively? Like, bro, of course you're not going to deny the money, and these enormous amounts of cash are coming in. Do you think they really understood, okay, guys, this is what we're going to have to churn out?
A resounding no, and I will tell you why.
Go ahead.
And I've worked with and still work with people that believe that the number means great, that the number means the product is amazing.
Right.
Those two things are completely separate. And I think what happened was when you got all these networks that are coming at you, and what they needed to understand, they were coming at them because they were a live event product. And in this day and age, live events are the only things that are getting advertising dollars.
Right.
And so I think they said, whoa, 1.6, 5 billion, we're on fire right now. And didn't think about, well, to get that number a second time, you've got to have rock solid shows. You got to have great creative. You got to have people saying, man, I want to continue to pay this amount of money. And if that's the case, then they're going to continue to pay you at that rate. But if people walk away, which I believe at least the eyeballs are walking away right now, then you can't expect $5 billion in 9 years.
Yeah.
I'll give them credit for doing a 10-year deal, though. At least now ESPN deal is only 5 years. All right, we have an answer, Vince. We have an answer. And I'm going to take it a step further. Not only is Triple H on the active superstar page, but so is Shane McMahon on the active superstar page. So my guess is they haven't addressed this page in a minute. I would guess there's probably people on here that have been cut that aren't even a part of the roster anymore. There is Triple H, of course, in his ring gear, and Shane McMahon right there.
You just passed Stephanie too.
Well, she just got into the Hall of Fame, Vince. She's active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, how hysterical. Go down to Triple H. Here's where I'm really disappointed in this, though. How hysterical would it have been if he had no shirt on? How great would I'm disappointed. Come on, bro. Have no shirt on for crying out loud.
I don't know. I try to give grace. I try to think of it from every perspective. I try to think of if I was thrust into an incredible spot, how would I react? And if I had that much power, you would probably have to reel me back in a little bit, Vince. I'll be honest with you. You probably would. But I think I would have been around Vince enough to say, if I'm in charge, you're never going to see or hear from me unless it's a business side, but certainly not on the talent side of things.
Yeah,
but I would probably make myself a character, to be honest, if I was Triple H, but I don't know what the heart issue and all that kind of stuff. All right, we got several more super stickers. All right, nonsense. You are getting another spot on the Wheel of Doom. He says, Coach got a shout out from Peter Rosenberg today. His interview with Chris Van Vliet dropped. Peter was very complimentary of getting his start in WWE via the coach while you were at ESPN. Very kind. It means a lot to me that a lot of these guys have jobs now based off of what we did at ESPN.
But, Coach, I got bad news for you.
Oh, no.
Rumor has it that Peter Rosenberg was just booked on the Jericho cruise. I mean, not for anything, Coach. I mean, come on.
How far has my star fallen? How far has it fallen?
Nice shout out, nonsense.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good. Thank you, Peter Rosenberg. Thank you.
Yeah, it is nice when these guys, like the other day, you got a shout out from TNA. Those are things we don't expect.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're in it every single week, like we are, it's nice to hear that people are thinking about you.
Absolutely.
All kidding aside, it really is.
Yeah.
All right, Lonnie Mead, you've got a spot on the Wheel of Doom. Lonnie says, call me old-fashioned, and by no means am I claiming to be a badass, but I miss the days where I didn't feel like I could beat up a WWE superstar. Where is Cross? Where is Drew? Etc. Sammy and Seth. Come on, bro. A lot of people feel this way, Vince.
I always say that. I feel that way through and through, Lonnie. I mean, when you used to watch wrestling, years and years ago, like everyone that came through that curtain you knew could give you an ass whooping. Even you talked about Brooklyn Brawler. You looked at Brooklyn Brawler and you're like, yeah, he'd probably kick my ass in a fight. I mean, I agree with you.
There were a lot of people back in the day, a lot that would test. They do that fake stuff. And it didn't take them very long to realize,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have a whole show just on the stories of that.
So, yeah, bro, the stories I've heard about wrestlers being challenged in bars, we could do a whole show on that.
I could do a whole show on the one that I was involved in. I was involved in several. I'm a little bit tougher than people think. I mean, I will tell you that about myself. I can take a punch. And Vince, there were these kickboxers in Europe. They're having a year-end award ceremony. And we were going to stay at the hotel. So back then we'd have baby faces on one bus, heels on the other. So when we rolled up to a hotel and there's fans there that they couldn't say like, oh, these guys get along. And so these kickboxers had been done for an hour or two. So they were at the bar. And you know how those European hotels are, you walk in the bar, the front desk, and then the elevators are very close. They're different than American hotels. And so this one guy said the first person that walks in the door, he was going to get in a confrontation with. Well, it just so happened it was Jack Doan, our 5'6" referee.
Oh, yeah. Impressive build. I mean, though, you could tell he can, probably go.
Yes. And so he got him, popped him. Our head of security, who at that time was more interested in securing The Rock than securing anybody else, he ran off and he was doing this. And all of a sudden, it was kind of like, Vince, the rules of when somebody attacks the mound or charges the mound, that if you don't charge the mound with him, you don't come back to the locker room. Right. That's how international fights were in the WWE. That you go, and so everybody had a person. Those kickboxers, Vince, we beat them down so badly, the police were not even called. They didn't even file any charges.
This is in the lobby of a hotel?
Hilton. Hilton Hotel.
That's crazy,
and
man.
The greatest part was 4 days later, I kid you not, Vince, they have this paper over there called The Sun. It's very popular.
Yeah, I know The Sun. Yeah.
So page 2 or the back page, they always have like a near naked person. That's what they're known for. That's why they sell so many papers. It would never go here. Go here. But it goes over there. So we're reading The Sun for the articles. And all of a sudden on like page 5, headlines, kickboxers beat up WWE superstars in hotel brawl. And they had all these quotes from the kickboxers in this article. And we're by now we're in Germany somewhere. And we're laughing and we're like, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. But yeah, true story. True story.
And you want to talk about real quick, Coach, you want to talk about loyalty, bro. Loyalty. I'll never forget this. The WWE, I don't want to say fired, but released Jack Doan. They released him. And I was working for WCW. Okay. So I wanted to help Jack out. WWE released him. He wasn't working, So I called Jack and we offer him a job at WCW, right?
Okay.
He comes to TV, he's going to be on Nitro or Thunder, whatever it was. He comes to TV, ready to go. Coach, he broke down and started crying. He couldn't do it. They released him, and he was so loyal to Vince and the WWE. He came to the show, flew to the show, and could not do it. And I was like,
wow.
And that's what I said. I'm like, oh, they released you. That's how freaking loyal Jack Doan was to the WWE.
Well, off camera, I'll tell you a Jack Doan story. There's no way I can tell it on the show, but it speaks to that. It speaks to that.
Yeah, unbelievable.
It had to do with me. All right, one super sticker, curtain jerker, as we call it, that we did not get to on Monday. Hitesh says, you notice Dirty Dom is getting massive babyface reaction. He's a great character wrestler. Should he be the next top babyface? Vince, what would you do with him?
Hitesh, it's so funny that you bring this up because yesterday I was randomly thinking about Dom Mysterio. And what I was thinking was, Coach, if he continues to go on the pace that he's on, if he continues in that trajectory, bro, this guy could be a huge star. He's so young. He's just getting started. His body hasn't even developed yet. Let's be honest. He's still a kid. If he continues this growth, bro, he could be huge.
Huge. And if he's smart, because we say it about normal stars all the time, the wrestling that I grew up in, if you're going to make me a main event star, I'm going to Triple H or Vince McMahon, whoever's in charge, of saying, book me as much as possible. He can go to Triple A and be a huge star in Mexico on top of the WWE.
Yeah.
And if he's smart, I don't know if he has an agent or not, I'm doing 2 different deals.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Hey, I'll do Triple A 10 times a year. Because down there, he didn't have to deal with any of the Seths and the Romans and all that. He could instantly be the top guy in AAA.
Yeah, good for him, man. What a future that kid's got. Good for him, and he's got a great dad. You and I both know.
Oh my God, I love Rey Mysterio. All right, Matthew Rossi is up next. What's both your opinions on the possibility this is another ruse with Seth? They're in on the breaker turn to swerve Punk. I thought about it, Vince. And to me, this actually makes more sense to keep the vision going than what we think they're doing. What about you?
I agree with you 1,000%. If they do that, I'm fine. I think they're going to the well too many times because they just did it. I mean, so I wouldn't do it this soon, but I'd rather this be the case, to be honest with you, Coach, like you said.
And this is why I think that this is real, because I don't think they would do an injury angle twice in 3 months.
I agree.
I really don't.
I agree.
And if CM Punk is the number 1 contender and this is fake, they're still going to, I don't know. I don't know. I'm very confused. I'm very confused on what it truly is. But I think we both agree that doing an injury angle with the same guy less than 3 months apart is just a bad move.
It's the boy who cried wolf.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Tesh, kind of following up from his Monday super sticker, says today, Dominic Mysterio gets babyface reactions. Yes. He's thin, but is a great character. Do you think lie, cheat, steal, babyface Dom could be the face of WWE? I hope, Vince, because I think the fan base doesn't want him to be a clean babyface. I think they want him to lie, cheat, and steal, and that would get him more over. Don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And he can definitely be the face of the WWE. I don't think now he's still growing, but he's got such a bright future.
Big time future. All right, KS is up next. Did you see the Darby Allin interview on Ariel Helwani show? Got to be honest, guy comes off as pretty immature and childish. I did not see that interview, but I did see his interview on Busted Open, and they were asking him about, he just climbed Mount Everest. And the one thing I took away from that interview, Vince, do you know, apparently this is like a thing. It's not like people just go there all willy-nilly. There's structure, there are checkpoints. And apparently, Vince, when you want to climb Mount Everest, they give you a beeper. It's a tracker, and you put it on your body. Why do they do that, Vince? Because there's so many avalanches that if you get buried and you die, they need to find your body.
That's nuts, man. That's nuts.
I would turn around and say, I'm good. Let's go back home. He said, I didn't want the tracker because if I die up there, I wanted to stay up there. That's what he said in the interview on Busted Open.
Coach, you got to do me a favor.
What's that?
They shot AEW with Darby Allin, shot an angle at Comic-Con in New York. Did you see this?
No. No.
Producer man, please get this for Coach, for him.
Oh, no.
It is, Coach, when you watch this whole thing and it's over, this should be labeled How Not to Shoot an Angle 101. You have to see
So
this,
they shot an angle at the Comic-Con for Collision or Dynamite or something like that?
Yeah, yes. Okay. And
All
guess who is involved in it?
Tony Khan?
Coach, You've got to see it to believe. Please watch it and tell me about
Okay.
it on it on Monday. Tell me.
All right,
about it on
we'll talk
Monday.
about it on Monday. Okay. All right. Varsity VA. Thanks again for the Mamby Pamby shirt.
Yes.
Varsity, send us a picture. We want to throw you up
Yes.
on the show. Also, you're in the running for another one today. If you win the Wheel of Doom, we'll give you a I Bet Wrestling or something else. You don't want 2 Mamby Pamby t-shirts. But he says, do you still think they still hold it against the Samoans for what happened at Rikishi's show? Seems like they are all being buried, including Roman. You guys rock. I never thought about that. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Very
That
nice.
was awesome, Varsity.
Yes, very
Oh,
nice. Look at that.
Who would have ever thought? I think that your shirt would be so popular with the people.
Yes, love it.
Oh, that's
Love it.
awesome, man. Yeah, that's what we want right there.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's even a connection at all?
I thought it was because a lot of times, varsity, when they do this, and Coach will tell you this, there's a doghouse period. You're in the doghouse, but you eventually get out of the doghouse. It's kind of to put you back in your place, put you back online. So there's a period of that. And I do believe there was. I definitely believe there was, but I think it's over now.
I think so too. And there's so many of them that I'm a little shocked that right now, if you set a fan down, Vince, and you said, who are the top guys, when you've got, 8 to 10 from the legit bloodline, maybe more than that, that there's not one outside of Roman that right now is in a main event big storyline.
Yeah.
Solo is, I thought he was going to be the next guy.
Yeah.
And they have him lose to Sami Zayn?
Yeah, and make no mistake about it, he's done a good job. Yes. He's one of the guys that I put over every week because his promos went from a 10 to a 1, or the other way around.
1 to a 10. Yeah.
He's done a phenomenal job on the mic. Absolutely.
To me, that's where I always say this: you cannot get over if you cannot talk.
Yes.
Period. Yes. End of story. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. And I think he did a great job. And I think that's what we talked about with Braun Breaker and Bronson. Solo's a great example of what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Right? 1,000%. Yes.
All right. Varsity, we'll see you on the Wheel of Doom here in a few minutes. Sid Dro says, think it'll be Punk Breaker at Saturday night's main event and Mania 42 prediction. Cody versus Punk. Chamber in Chicago. Punk could win that. And Breaker versus Roman. He wins the Rumble. Do you think people want to see Cody and CM Punk? And to me, there was so much. Well, it wasn't a real main event because it was night number 1 last year after the tears and the emotion from CM Punk. Maybe they want to do a get right where they give him a main event in night number 2.
Yeah, they're in Chicago. I can't.
No, Chicago is Elimination Chamber.
Oh, Chicago's the Elimination Chamber. Yeah,
which the winner gets to face a champion at WrestleMania.
Yeah, because and still, Coach, wasn't that a 3-way when he was in the main event?
Yeah. Punk was a 3-way this year. Yeah, it was a 3-way this year.
To me, that's still not really a main event. Is A versus B. To me, that's a main event. So I still think they owe that to him.
100%. To me, a 2-night show, to me, the main event is night number 2. That's the main event to me.
Coach, I got so upset and I cut a little bit of promo because right before this show, I do my show with Al Snow, right before this show on Thursdays, right? Man, bro, he went on social media again, cutting a promo on people asking him for autographs. And I'm like, that makes me want to tear my hair out of my head.
So that was going to be one of producer man. Can you resend that tweet to me so I can read that?
Coach, this drives me crazy, Coach. What
drives you crazy about it?
That's part of the job, man. That's what you signed up for. You can't be a superstar on your terms. That's part of the job. Coach, I was saying this is a shoe, Coach, and I don't even know how this happens. Coach, I'm telling you, at least 4 days out of the week, to my house. I get mail and they want me to sign cards. Now, two things. Number one, as long as you have a self-addressed envelope, no problem. I'm not paying to send you the cards, number one.
Me too.
Number two, Coach, they send several of the same cards. So, okay, bro, I know you're going to probably try to sell these to make a buck, but man, if you're down on your luck and you need to make a couple bucks for my autograph, like, go knock yourself out, make some money. Like, that's how I look at it. But my God, bro, we talked about this last week. Back in the day, don't interrupt the wrestlers when they're eating. Those are the rules. Now you can't approach them in an airport. You can't approach them in a lobby in a hotel. What did you guys think you were signing up for?
Well, I've never had an issue with fans, and I got bothered. I won't use the word bothered. It's not, to me, I was so grateful that I had this career that I never dreamed about having, at least that in that direction. And Vince, a lot of what people like CM Punk don't understand is if you just do it, it takes a lot less time than if you take the, let's post or yelling at a fan. And there are a few. There's a few that get a little bit, but they're few and far between. Most of these fans adore you. They adore you. Here's what he wrote, Vince, on Twitter. We unfortunately have to have this conversation again. God. Do not turn up at airports. Do not show up at hotels. I cannot believe I have to say this. Do not follow people. You've repeatedly been politely told no, respect it. You are not a fan. You are a stalker and will be treated as such. Respect the boundaries. Stop harassing people. Now, he may be talking to one person, but it didn't sound like that right there. So the fan base is going to look at him and go, damn, we welcome this guy back into the WWE with open arms. He's making several $1 million a year when 5-7 years ago, he was out of the business. Coach, I would be so grateful.
You know what's the first thing I thought of when I see this? Because this is what we covered and this is what we talked about. Here's my first thought reaction. Could you imagine Hulk Hogan posting something like this? Do you know, if Hogan walked 5 feet, somebody was approaching the guy. Did you ever hear anything like this from Hulk Hogan? Ever?
No, it's so much fun, Vince. Every kid that's ever grown up wanted to be an athlete, wanted to be a wrestler. They dream about being a star. And stars deal with this. Jeez. I mean, you imagine what Tay-Tay's like with Travis Kelce. He had to buy a house behind this huge barrier so people couldn't get in there. You don't see him complaining about it because he's like, listen, for the rest of my life, I don't have to worry about money. I don't have to worry about anything but a few people wanting my picture.
And also, let's not lose sight of the fact, CM Punk, okay? You were getting your freaking ass kicked at UFC. Like, let's not forget that, okay? Go back to UFC, take a beating in UFC, be a loser, and nobody will bother you for your autograph. This drives me crazy, Coach. Crazy.
He had 0 UFC wins. I think 0. And they were it was bad. But he was highly paid there because of his name. I mean, he was making like 800, 900 grand a fight.
And then Dana, why wouldn't book him anymore?
No. Yeah, he got cut after I think 2 fights, maybe 3.
Can you imagine Cena putting out a tweet like that? John Cena. Can you imagine?
I just saw a video of him going off on a guy so respectfully that I was like, is he really yelling at him? Because the guy was following him. And he goes,
I think I saw that. I
just told you. No, and it was like he just puts his foot down.
Yeah.
And he handles it like a man.
Yeah.
What he does. All right, a few more, and then we got to get out of here because I got a radio show I got to go do. You guys are amazing. You make these shows so long. We love you for it, though. Hitesh says Breaker's a great athlete like Lesnar in 02, but doesn't have his character down yet. That's why I think they should go with Dominic and let Braun grow. I agree with that, Vince. He's not close to where he needs to be a main eventer at WrestleMania.
And you know what else kills him, Coach? I'm going to say it. I've been saying this from day one. Yeah. That name kills him. That is a horrible, horrible name.
Which brings us to DTA Steve. What does DTA Steve says? People don't like the name Braun Breaker. Shouldn't the point be that his own character without using his family's name? What would you change his name to, Vince?
How about this? Steiner. That's it. Steiner.
Mm.
Like Goldberg, Steiner. That's it.
Man, I think, wow, that would be something. Just the one name, which I
Steiner.
love. Wow.
Whoever came up with this name, and who knows, maybe it was Vince. I don't know. I hate that name.
It's hard to say, too. I struggle with B's and P's. And when you're talking a lot and doing shows and hosting, B's and P's, I have to physically stop and say them so I don't just kind of gloss over them. All right, we have one more super sticker, and then we've got to get to the Wheel of Doom, and then we got to get the hell out of Dodge. The Gobbledygooker says, Coach, did you get paid for the Austin McBroom YouTube boxing event that you commented on in 2021? I heard that event turned out to be a big scam. Two things. One, it was a scam. It wasn't really a scam, Vince. I did this event with DJ Khaled, Migos. James Harden invested $2 million reportedly, and they promised to give him back. And this is going to make you laugh, Vince. The reason people didn't get paid is because they thought at $20 a pop, they were going to do, wait for it, 10 million buys.
Wow.
It was YouTube boxing. It was like big YouTubers fighting against each other. And then they had gigantic stars in. When DJ Khaled came out, he did like 2 songs. Migos, 3. I was like, man, how much are they paying these dudes?
Yeah.
I did not get paid right then. But a year later, Vince, they tried to slide one, and the same guys did another show. And and this is what I tell people to do. Handle it privately. I sent them a DM and I said, it'll be a cold day in hell before you do another show if you don't, pay some of us. I got paid in less than 30 days.
There you go.
So they made me whole. All right. Last thing, my favorite thing to do here on Thursdays. And I think we're going to have the most names we've ever had, Vince. I really do.
Let's
Producer
see.
man, we need to see the
Whoa!
Oh my God! Wow, this is by far the most that we've ever had.
Yes.
Okay, Vince, you're the one that calls it.
Spin the Wheel of Doom.
Go! Who's going to be our next winner? Mamby-pamby, we got another picture to the right. Spin it up!
Here we go. Oh, I like
Very,
this.
very exciting.
Like watching a horse race.
It really is. It really is. Who's gonna win the Wheel of Doom? Oh! Lonnie Mead.
By a nose. That's by a nose right there, Coach. No?
It's kind of like when they have the really small things on the Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's all right. So there is the email, Lonnie Mead. We need you to email Producer Man, give him all your information. And as you can see from our other winners, you will get yours in real time, unlike some other shows that never follow through. That's not what we do. So we want to see all those Mamby-pamby t-shirts all over the world. All right, Vince, this was our longest show to date.
Wow.
But it was important. We got to a lot of topics. Anything you want to... Oh, by the way, that was Carmine. I want to say this. So Carmine, smartest mark alive right there. Vince, do you know he wore that shirt to Crown Jewel?
That's awesome, man. Thank you.
How cool is that?
That is very, very, very awesome. Very nice.
We had your T-shirt, our brand, represented at Crown Jewel.
That is awesome. Thank you very, very much, Carmine.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Carmine, you owe me $40 for the shipping down to Australia. But hey, we'll talk about that later. Vince, that's going to do a great show today.
Yeah, a lot of fun today. A lot of topics. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, thank you. We'll be back on Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, YouTube and socials only. Thank you to everybody for allowing us to grow. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please do that. We really need to grow that page as it's growing fast. And if you are a football fan, join me tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. For now, though, that'll do it for here. For Vince Russo, for Mikey P, for Double D, for Producer Man, I am the coach. This has been the Coach and Bro Show, and we will see you next time.